What's up, Kansas City? I'm Serenity, and today we have poets and rappers, Spades.
Hey, how you doing?
Also known, what's your real name? I don't even think I know your real name.
Spades Lunn.
Oh, okay. So tell us, how did you get into rapping and poetry?
With rap, it was in middle school, my 6th grade year. There was a guy in my social studies class, back when it was called social studies, and he was rapping. Well, I thought he was just talking real fast. Then I noticed everything was rhyming, and I was like, that's tight. I want to learn how to do that. So I went home and I tried. Let's just say that guy isn't the guy you have now, but I stuck with it. Then I started doing it behind instrumentals and stuff, to instrumentals and stuff like that, and it just worked out, and here I am now.
Okay. Where'd Spades come from?
Let's see, how can I make a long story short? I had a church group. There was a group of kids, it's like 12 of us, and we just wanted to be called something, so we chose the deck. And originally, my best friend at the time, his name was Luke, he chose the name Spades, and I was like, man, that sounds so tight. I was like, no, you look more like a clubs. He's like,
What is
I
the
like clubs. That's the other club.
Like?
That's the other club. That's the other card symbol of the club. He's like, yeah, I'm clubs. And I said, cool, I'm Spades. So I needed a rap name.
You manipulated your way into a name?
Yeah,
Okay.
But I needed a rap name, so I adapted it, and the group not really fell apart, but we grew older, and they didn't want to be in the group anymore. But I liked the name, and so I started developing meanings behind it. And a lot of people don't say spades with the S at the end, they say spade, and a spade is a garden tool, something used to dig. And when I relay messages through poetry or through music, people say they can feel it. It's as if it digs beneath the surface and goes into the heart. When you put the S back at the end, in the French, it means the spades represents military. And for the longest time, I felt like a one-man army. I got all my resources by myself. I had to do all my groundwork. I had to go out and do stuff. So that's that. And the last meaning, and probably the most powerful, is spades is a card game, and the spade is the most dominant card in there. Right. Anything else that comes against it, it's automatically beaten.
Anything, right?
Exactly. So anything that I've ever gone through in life, I've dominated or I've overcome. So
have you ever been set in liking spades?
Man, we're not gonna talk about my card experience, but man, I'm pretty cold.
So you're also part of a group. Tell us about this group. It's called 117.
117.
At a kitchen table about 3 years ago, and we wanted. It was a team of us at the time, and we wanted to adopt an identity. So those coming home, there was a 7-Eleven.
So who else in this group?
Well, at the time, it would have been Dose, myself, Thomas, who went by Big Smooth at the time. There was Emma, and then there's another guy, his name Paradox, and then the last one was Blur. So we all would collect at Dose's kitchen table. We'd write, go over different ideas and things that we were trying to do. And so one day when he was driving home, he seen 7-Eleven, because there was a 7-Eleven up the street from his house, and he reversed it. He said 117. And I don't know how fast the man's mind worked, that from flipping it, he came up with one Elohim, or one creator, one team, and then 7 is the number of completion. So with one creator and one team, we are complete. And that's how 117 came to be. The team part came
because you're a team of people?
Exactly. So that's why people yell that out to 117. So, yeah.
What upcoming projects do you have going on right now as far as poetry, music, any of that?
I'm currently working on a 3-disc project that's going to be called Dreams Turn Reality. And before I was working where I currently work and really doing music, I was working with kids for 2 years. And it amazed me how much they knew, but how much they didn't know. And a lot of them felt like they had to go work the regular 9-to-5, or they had to go seek security within regular 9-to-5s, and it's like a lot of people are getting cut from those. So what I wanted was to create something, a bit of a blueprint, to show that you can go out and still be the very princess you dreamed of as a kid, and just apply it in a different manner, that you can take college and go so much further with just that certificate that they give you and everything like that. And so that's where Dreams Turn Reality came from.
So you have a CD that you've already finished. What's the name of that CD?
I do. I have two, and then I have a music compilation of everything I've done in the last 3 years. The first one was called The Come Up. I dropped it 2011. The second one was called Elevation, which is part of the Come Up series. The Come Up series is going to be a trilogy, with the last CD in it being Ascendance, which I haven't worked on yet. But Elevation came out 2 years ago, 2013. And then the music compilation that I have is this right here, just titled Spades Music. And it's exactly what it is. It's a collection of my different songs throughout the years. Some that made CDs, others that kind of didn't. And it's a 7-disc track that I'm giving away.
Oh, okay.
So to familiarize anybody who doesn't know Spades, anybody who needs an introduction or anything like that. Well,
So it's sort of like a demo CD kind of?
Boom. Compilation of songs that I've done over the course of years, as well as some new material too, just to kind of get everybody familiar with who I am, what my sound is, and everything like that. I always have them on me, so people, you can pick them up off me if you see me or anything like that, or just hit me up on social medias, and I got you.
Okay. So you said you do something where you mentor with kids. Tell us a little bit about that. I didn't even know anything about that.
2 years ago, 2 years ago starting, and then it stopped last July. I used to work with the LINC program. It's a before and after school program. And it's not like the traditional give them snack, play games, send them off to school, get them from school, same thing. You know, like we had to do lesson plans, go over different subjects, projects, things like that. So it was a real nice experience. And you know, throughout some of that, kids come to you with personal problems, and there are proper steps that you have to take to address those, but still make sure that you're getting help for the kid and everything like that. And just seeing that, I worked with kindergarten through 8th grade in the morning, and then in the afternoon I had 6th grade through 8th grade, so middle school. And especially the middle school class, that's a big transition in their life. Like they're going through puberty and things like that. They're becoming a teenager or that preteen stage, and life decisions get a little more real for them, or their perception of the world has become a lot deeper than what it was when they were just a kid, innocent, running around recess and stuff like that. So that's where that came from.
Okay. I know you're pushing forward mostly with your music, but as far as poetry, I know you started doing slam poetry this year. So
Yeah.
why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience?
I was crazy. Like it was like battle rapping, because I've done battle rap before, but it wasn't against an opponent or anything like that. It was more of you're kind of battling to get your point across, to be heard, and to really stand for something. And there was a time limit thing, and I didn't realize how long some of my pieces were until I did the slam poetry thing. But it was amazing. Like you really get to hear the passion and the aggression of where people are coming from, or what their points they're trying to get across and stuff like that. But while listening to them, you still got to get your own point across and stuff like that. So it was an amazing experience, and I really enjoyed it.
And when did you say you started doing poetry?
Now poetry is a little different. Poetry I didn't start till about high school.
Oh, okay.
And they had poetry nights at the school and everything like that, and I was just like, that's dope. Because my mom does poetry, so all of my music talents and my writing comes from my mother. She's been writing poetry for as long as I can remember. And there was a time when I got to read a Nikki Giovanni book that my mother had, and I loved how it was structured. I loved her vernacular. I loved how she put everything together and detailed her story. So I was like, that's so different. I kind of want to do that. So then I started doing it, and I didn't actually start performing poetry until about 4 years ago when I was 19. Kudos, Jason Betts gave me my first shot.
Okay. So as a person who is kind of like, you kind of coin yourself as a hybrid artist.
Yes.
You do music and poetry. What would you say is the main difference between the two as far as your delivery and your style?
That's a good question. Yeah, I thought about that. Probably the way that I go about doing it. Most of my poetry is done with no music to it. It has its own rhythm, it sets its own tone and everything like that. Whereas my music, the music behind the vocals and everything like that helps to deliver the story a lot better, because a lot of times I like the music to set the tone before I even start rapping, so that you kind of already get a sense of what direction we're going. With my poetry, I like it to be random every time. So whether it's me talking about issues that's going on worldwide, or me trying to knock down the pretty lady in the front row, you never know what I'm going to do when I'm up there. So.
Well, rap is still where the main poetry, and then, but usually, you know, I'm sure you probably maybe you hear the beat, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this song with that beat because you feel a certain vibe from that beat, right? Is that kind of how it
Sure.
goes?
Sometimes, and then other times I like to, in my mind, if this is the first thing I thought when I heard the instrumental, I can imagine everybody else hearing the same thing. So what I sometimes like to do is that random factor. Well, let's switch up everything. Let's come up with a whole different subject or a different thing to talk about, so that they don't think the same thing that I think, and so they're not expecting that, and go above their expectations. Like, wow, he did that with this, and I was thinking that. Like, I like that wow factor. I like to be that.
So are you ever gonna come out with like a book of poetry or a spoken word CD?
I thought about it, and I thought about doing spoken word. I've actually incorporated spoken word into some of my CDs and some of my songs. I do have them on there. As far as just a whole CD of it, I'm not sure yet, because I'm still learning a lot when it comes to poetry. I'm still growing, learning from my mentors like K Love out in Chicago, Envion from out here, and Trey Newman is another person that I really look up to as far as poetry and stuff goes. But one day, it's definitely possible. I'm just not sure if I do it now. As far as a book, I know for a fact I definitely want to do a book. I just want to do it when I'm a lot older and a lot wiser, so I know exactly what to put in it.
Right, that makes sense. So how would somebody get in contact with you?
Oh, listen.
I know you're like the social media king.
You already know. Google. Google will give you everything there is to know about Spades Lunn. Literally just go to Google, type in Spades Lunn. My Facebook is on there, and everything is either Spades Lunn or Spades Music, with a few exceptions of my Twitter, my SoundCloud being under code name Spades. But those three names will give you everything, with Google giving you everything, the whole list. My emails is on there, my contact information is on there, everything is on there, literally.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for
I
having me.
appreciate you. And I'm Serenity, and reminding you to spit your piece.
CMG wants you to always remember, the victory we call success goes to the best prepared. When you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Thanks.